the Immortal, live in the mix.
Alright, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live on the air with the legendary Bo-Roc from the legendary LBC group, the Dove Shack. How you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Just out here and going through this little quarantine thing, you know. Everybody feeling the effects of it around the world.
I hear you, man. Here in Canada, we're pretty much shut down as well, so I feel you on that one. Hopefully it's over soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I have to ask you, Bo-Roc, what made you decide to get into the music industry initially?
Actually, I was always motivated to be a singer, but I never really thought to pursue it professionally. You know, I grew up myself, Nate Dogg, Butch Cassidy, the Twins, Ricky Harris. We all went to the same church growing up as kids. And right down the street, Snoop Dogg, Warren G, and a couple of other homies went to the other church right down the street. So we all grew up in church. So there was always that music within us from coming from that background. It wasn't until Warren G actually got signed that the professional aspirations actually came to fruition on pursuing an actual music career. And it just happened to be blessed in a situation to where on us recording on the first Warren G album, the song This Is the Shack on a Regulate album, the right people, which was Chris Lighty, rest in peace, from Def Jam, Paul Stewart from PMP, and they just happened to be in the studio for our session, and they went bananas when they first heard us. You know, they actually got to labeling us like the West Coast Fugees because they had never heard a three-person group with the singing involved, where one of the singer was also a rapper as well. So we was able to actually get a record deal with no demo, without having to shop for a record deal and everything. They actually pursued us from that studio session with Warren G. Next thing you know, Def Jam start calling our phone.
That's insane. I actually did not know that. That's actually really impressive, you know, that you actually got a deal without no demo, no nothing. That's really rare, especially back in the day.
Yeah, it was rare, and it was also rare for a record company to pursue an artist. You know, back then, submitting demos was very big, you know, and even when you sometimes got a deal with a record label, they would only give you what's called a demo deal, you know, which is a budget to record a demo. And then if they liked that demo, then you would get an actual record deal. You know, we was able to actually skip past that whole process. Like I said, just from the uniqueness of the song, This Is the Shack. Warren G made a very unique beat. You know, I know we all remember that with the drum pattern. Dun, 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 dun. You know, that was a new sound with them band-type drums, you know, and then with the creativeness of the hook that I created as far as singing This Is the Shack and whatnot, it was just something that was new to the industry. You know, to the point to where This Is the Shack wasn't even a single off of Warren G's album, but the radio stations were still playing it on a regular basis.
And I have to ask you, how did you, Two Scoops, and C-Night actually meet? Like, what's the story behind the iconic formation of the Dove Shack?
We all childhood friends. Like I said, everybody. Probably the only artist that's not is two of the newer artists like Vince Mensa and OT Genesis. They probably are the only two artists from Long Beach that didn't grow up together. But all of us grew up together as children. Warren G, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, Two Scoops, C-Night, everybody you can think of, Butch Cassidy, Little Half Dead, Big C Style, Little C Style, the East Siders, the LBC crew, everybody out of Long Beach, we all even grew up together, even with Sublime. You know, we all went to the same schools together. Cameron Diaz, you know, that's one of the homegirls. We all, you know, Long Beach is a cesspool of talent. So
I agree
we all
with that,
grew up
man.
together as childhood friends. You know, just going to school together and hanging out with each other throughout elementary and junior high school. That's how we all met, you know. My parents actually stayed 2 blocks over from C-Night's grandmama, and C-Night grandmama stayed 2 blocks over from Two Scoop mom's house. So we was all together. We all went to school together. So it started off as just hanging out as homeboys and friends in the hood. Everybody did. Nobody came together as music artists first. We were all just friends first, and then formed music crews throughout Long Beach.
It was just bound to happen by the sounds of it. The Dove Shack was bound to happen.
Yeah. Well, you know, in Long Beach, we had in the junior high school years, we had these crews. You know, NGN. You know, Boogie Boys. You know, the girls had Ladies First. They was like these little junior high school type fraternities back then. You know, like you got the new artists, the YNBs. You know what I'm saying, or the ASAP crew. You know, we had those type of crews back then, which were like rap battle and dance battle crews growing up in school. So that's how you got Snoop Dogg with 213 with him, Nate Dogg, and Warren G. But actually, Nate Dogg was part of another group first. Nate Dogg and Domino used to be in a group together along with the twins that were on Warren G's album. They all used to be one group.
I actually did not know that. I guess you learn something new every day. I did not know Nate Dogg and Domino were actually in a group together. That's actually wow.
Yeah. They had a little crew. You know, the Dove Shack back then wasn't even called the Dove Shack. We were called Big Nuts. You know, the Dove Shack was just actually our hangout location, which was C-Night's grandmother. She had a huge 2-car garage that we basically converted into our clubhouse, sealed up the walls, put carpet in there, put couches, beds in there, loud sound system, DJ equipment, all that stuff. And that used to just be our hangout, and we used to throw block parties. You know, so everybody knew the Dove Shack as a place to go for the parties, you know, and then we just adapted the name as a rap group.
And I have to ask this one, because this is one of my absolute favorite songs that you and the Dove Shack did, which is Summertime in the LBC, and you probably answered this a million times, so on behalf of that, I'm sorry, but I have to ask you, what's the inspiration and story behind that iconic track?
The inspiration was how I grew up in Long Beach, and I actually got motivated to write the song on a hot-ass summer day in 93. It was exceptionally hot. What's actually crazy is the girl that's featured on Summertime in the LBC, Nita P. She's actually from North Carolina. She was the secretary. She was a secretary at PMP Def Jam. She actually worked in the office, you know, and a girl I was dating at that time used to braid hair. So the day I wrote Summertime in LBC, because I wrote the whole entire song, I wrote the female part and everything. The day I wrote the song, she just happened to be at my house getting her hair braided. And she had always used to tell me that she knew how to sing, you know. So when I was writing Summertime in the LBC, I'm like, and she was sitting there getting her hair braided, I'm like, you know what? I'm finna write you a part to this song, and we're gonna see if you really know how to sing. You know, and henceforth, that's how she ended up on Summertime in the LBC. But the song, again, the beat was created by my boys Hank and Lamont. It wasn't created by Warren G. It was created by my boys Hank and Lamont, who actually grew up down the street from me. You know, and they did a lot of tracks on the Dove Shack album, and the Summertime beat just happened to be one of the beats that they had. They had slid me a cassette tape with a bunch of beats on there, and like I said, on this particular day, it was a hot day. It was extra hot in the house, you know, because, you know, the stove was on, because the girls doing their hair and whatnot, you know, so going through those beats, it was just a motivation and reminiscing about growing up in Long Beach.
And I have to say, that is actually one of my absolute favorite songs. I still got my old This Is the Shack CD, and every summertime I bump that track, man. I always listen to it when I'm like having a barbecue, you know, having a couple beers with the friends. It's a great song to veg out to in the summertime.
Yeah, well, that's what it was about. You know, I know for us growing up with any kid, you know, even though we have fun and we have our friends and we have activities at school, I don't think there's no kid who doesn't look forward to summer and when that summertime hits. You know, and Long Beach being the type of diverse community that it was, we had a Navy base down there. So we was a very diverse community, blacks, Hispanics, Filipinos, Koreans, Samoans, you know, it was very, very diverse. Cambodians, you know, whites, we was all in a big melting pot. So our summer times was very active. You know, a lot of playing, a lot of places to go. We had the Pike in Long Beach, which was sort of like, think of Coney Island in New York. Long Beach has a setup like that called the Pike. We had the Queen Mary down there, the Spruce Goose, which was a major attraction. It was an airplane with the largest wingspan in the world of any airplane. You know, we had all these attractions down there. So our summertime used to be real lit. And we had different type of hood activities like water balloon fights. You know, that's why I say in the song, water balloon fighters, low riders, because we usually actually have major water balloon fights where these 5 or 6 blocks are fighting against these 5 or 6 blocks. So you have 10 blocks, 300 people involved in a mass citywide water balloon fight. You know, and the idea is to catch somebody in their fresh clothes, you know, dressed to go somewhere, or catch one of the girls who just got their hair did, or catch somebody riding around in their car. And back then, you know, a lot of the older homies had low-rider cars with the plushed out insides, the custom interiors. So the last thing they wanted was somebody to throw a water balloon on the inside of their custom interior car. So
that's
that
true.
was
It
just
sounds
a
more like
thing.
a war.
Yeah, it used to be, you know, like I said, Long Beach being diverse, it was once upon a time before the unfortunate introduction of a heavy gang life. You know, people used to have a lot of different community activities of just acting up, you know, and just having fun in the neighborhood. So that's what summertime in the LBC, that was the motivation of reminiscing on those good summer days that I had in Long Beach, and that, you know, when I went to visit my grandparents out in the South in Memphis or down in Illinois, it was the same type of vibe. Summertime was just always family, love, barbecues, good food, you know, loud music, partying, having fun.
And I also,
And I think that,
sorry about that.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's why the song made such an impact, because so many people were able to identify with that, you know, that summertime feeling that we all got when the summer came, you know, and we're not in school and the sun is out and we get to go out and play and have fun, or, you know, even as an adult, we have our adult fun time that we have during the summer. So.
Oh yeah, man, that song most definitely is a soundtrack to the summer. I can tell you that for a fact.
Yes, well, I've always appreciated the love.
And you also had the opportunity to work with the late great Tupac. I have to ask you, what was it like working with him, and how did you two actually get connected?
Actually, ironically, when me and Tupac first met, it was up under some not so good circumstances. You know, we actually first met by getting into it, having words behind an incident that happened at the House of Blues out here in LA. At the premiere of the movie Jason's Lyric. You know, it was a movie back in the day starring Jada Pinkett and Tretch from Naughty by Nature, called Jason's Lyric. And we was at the premiere party for that at the House of Blues. Tupac was there actually with Jada Pinkett, you know, and incident ended up happening with him. You know, one of my other homies that I grew up with, that was from the Dog Pound, the homie Shine Dog, you know, to where words end up getting exchanged over a misunderstanding, you know, and it was to the point to where we was initially, you know, about to come to blows. You know, I was about to come to blows with his whole crew. You know, the whole, at that time, they was the Thug Life crew. Big Sight, rest in peace. You know, some of the other cats he was running with that was locally from L.A. But, ironically, during my tenure at Def Jam, we ended up working with Tina Davis, you know, A&R extraordinaire. She actually discovered Chris Brown and was responsible for Chris Brown's career. But she was the VP, the head A&R on the West Coast at Def Jam. She's also E40's cousin. She's from the Bay. So in working with her, she had plugged me up with E40 to do some songs. That's when I recorded Things Will Never Change with E40, which was E40's first MTV hit. And I did a couple of other records with RBL, Posse, D-Shot, and all that. So she wanted to plug me up with Richie Rich. Richie Rich was also signed to Def Jam. Richie Rich also just happens to be best friends with Tupac at this time. This was unbeknownst to me. Well, she introduced me to Richie Rich. Me and Richie Rich built a great rapport. I fly out to Oakland. He picked me up in the fly whip. You know, we go out there, do some work. We come back out here to L.A., get into the studio, and we kind of built a rapport and a bond between each other. It wasn't until actually around the time when Tupac got out of jail and he was staying at the hotel out here. I forget the Peninsula Hotel. I believe this is actually the day after him and Faith had just recorded their record. You know, I go to the Montrose Hotel to go pull up on Richie Rich out in Hollywood, and he happened to be on the phone with Tupac when I walk into the hotel room. You know, him and Tupac just happened to be talking, and they were talking about the studio session with Faith, and I believe he just fucked Faith Evans, you know, and he was telling Richie Rich the story when I walked in the room, you know, and, you know, I inquired, you know, like, who was that on the phone? We talked and whatnot, and I began to learn that him and Richie Rich was real tight. He was also tight with Yuck Mouth from the Loonies, which I was tight with also. So, you know, in talking to them and hearing stories about him, and I had already kind of been a fan of Tupac before our incident where we clashed at, you know, it kind of softened my outlook on the whole situation. So when he showed up one day at Track Studio wanting Warren G to mix on a record, we was at Warren G's studio session. Tupac shows up wanting Warren G to mix on a record and whatnot, and we had a chance to, you know, just basically squash a little beef, chop it up, and rap a little bit and whatnot. And, you know, he asked me to pull up on him. I told him I already be going to Can-Am studio all the time, which was the Death Row studio. I go up there to hang out with the homie Snoop and them all the time. So he just told me, you know, pop my head in his session one day when I'm up there, you know, and one day up there, and that's exactly what I did.
And I do have to say, you know, at least you had the opportunity to bury the hatchet before everything happened, because, you know, Pac had a lot of beef with a lot of people, but at least you had the opportunity to be able to squash it, you know, before his unlikely demise.
Yeah, actually, out of everybody, we only had a chance to squash it, but out of everybody that was part of my Long Beach crew, I was the only one that was actually in Vegas going to fuck with him, you know what I'm saying, when he ended up getting killed. You know, Snoop or nobody had even came to Vegas, but I had went out there, and ironically, right before he had got killed, we had just, he was in the lobby of the MGM, and I had just bought a sack of weed from Orlando, Baby Lane. You know, I know Baby Lane. I knew Baby Lane very well, you know, and a couple of his other homies. So I had seen the homie Dre from Baby Lane's hood, Orlando, and I asked him to purchase some weed. He told me Baby Lane had the weed on him. I walk over to Baby Lane, Orlando, and, you know, get a little dub sack of weed, whatnot. He talking to a female. As soon as I walk off from him, I see E40. E40 asked me where I was staying at. At this time, I was staying at me and my brother was staying in Treasure Island in Vegas. That's where we had got our hotel rooms at. E40 told us he's throwing a big bash at the Luxor after they meet up at the 662 Club where Popman was going. They was going to do it. He had the whole floor at the Luxor, so he told me to go get my stuff from the Treasure Island. He had extra rooms at the Luxor and come over to the Luxor. So me, my brother, my homie Lil Bo and whatnot, we took off to the Treasure Island to go grab our stuff, pack up our stuff. On the way back, we stopped at McDonald's. We end up at McDonald's for a little while because my brother didn't want to get in the car because he was trying to talk to some girl and whatnot. By the time we leave McDonald's and drive up the street, I see my other homegirl, Tina, who was at that time dating Suge. I see her standing out on the sidewalk, hysterical, just crying, just going ballistic. So naturally, this is one of my homegirls from Long Beach, and I'm all the way in Vegas. So when I see my homegirl out here crying, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull up and check on my homegirl, like, what's wrong? So when I pull up on her, the first thing she got to yelling, she didn't know that Pac had survived to the hospital. She didn't know that Suge had only got grades. She had just started yelling, they just killed Tupac and Suge, they just killed Pac and Suge, they just killed Pac and Suge. And I'm like, what? She was like, yeah, they just shot him up, they just shot him up, they just shot up Pac and Suge. So me and my brother and my boy Lil Bo, we like, oh my God, like what's going on? What's going on? So we get ready to head towards the MGM to see if we can get some information because that's the last place we seen them. We end up getting a phone call telling us that, hey, the police is riding around looking for, they pulling over all cars with California plates, you know, and we was in the Lexus at that time with the California plates. So our natural instinct from being from the hood was, ooh, they looking for cars with California plates? Oh, we out of here. And we jumped on the freeway and headed back to California, you know. And unfortunately, we learned on the ride back to California that he had passed away.
I gotta say though, I don't blame you for getting out of there, especially in the '90s. The cops were freaking crazy, man. So I don't blame you for getting out of there.
Oh yeah, you know. And then on top of that, just me being from the hood. My thing is, if it ain't got nothing to do with me, I'm not going to involve myself in it. I'm not going to voluntarily involve myself in it. So, you know, I'm not one of them ones to, you know, I want to be in the mix. So, oh, let me go over here. Let me find out what's going on. Let me find out. Oh, no. It's going there. Okay, let me step over here. You know what I'm saying? Let them deal with that. And, you know, somebody will call me and fill me in later. You know, so that's what my whole mentality was. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who shot who. We didn't know what parties was involved. We didn't know what it had stemmed behind, anything, you know. I just, you know, and at this time, you got to think, we coming off the cuff or we in the thick of the East Coast, West Coast beef, you know, and we out in Vegas where everybody goes. We had a Mike Tyson fight. You know what I'm saying? So this got people from all around the country, all around the world here. So when this incident happened, it's like, who knows what the circumstances was behind it. Only thing we get word back is the police looking for, they jacking up any cars with California plates on it. And that might not have been true. You know, come to find out later on, they was looking for a distinct car with California plates. But at the time the incident just happened, you know how ghetto rumors happen. You know, the word we get is they looking for cars with California plates. So we just got ourselves out of Dodge.
And when you mentioned earlier about Yuckmouth, that was actually next on my question list. You were actually part of the regime. I have to ask you, how did you become a member of the regime? Like, what's the story behind that?
Nah, I'm never became I'm not an actual member of the regime. You know, Yuckmouth is my boy. That's my dog. When they first came in the game and got signed, you know, they moved to LA. out here, and Yuck had it running way back then with Suge and a couple of cats, because LA was tense grounds back then. So I liked it, Yuck, and I still like him. That's still my boy. You know what I'm saying? I like the numbskull. You know what I'm saying? So we just decided to, as a Dub Shack, like, okay, them the homies, they fucking with us. So, they fucking with us, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody fucking with them. Leave them alone. You know what I'm saying? They with us. It was that type of incident, to where, okay, well, look, my dude, as long as you out here in LA, you moving around, know that you straight. If, anybody give you a problem, holler at your boy, you know what I'm saying? And we'll deal with it, and that's what secured our bond. It wasn't even on no music tip, it was all just hanging out. That was my boy. We smoked, we chilled, and then we started doing records together. And then in the process of us doing records together, I think people just automatically made the assumption that I was part of the Regime crew, because of the work we was doing and the fact that we just hung out all the time together. But, I never actually was a member of the Regime crew or anything like that, Just Dub Shack only.
Yeah, because I actually read that on Discogs. So when I read that when I was doing my research for the interview, I was like, Regime. I'm like, I did not know that, but I do know like the Regime. The list goes on, right? So I was like, I might as well bring it up. You never know, right?
Yeah. People just make that association, like I said, because me and Yuck was always so tight, and we got so many records together. I got 3 or 4 records with him and Sebo. Then me and him got records together. Then me, him, and a couple of his artists got records together. So I did a lot of work within his crew. I've been sanctioned to, do a lot of hook work and feature work amongst different crews. Once upon a time, people thought I was part of the Dog Pound because I was, on so many Dog Pound and Snoop Dogg records and hanging out with Snoop Dogg and the Dog Pound every day.
And I have to ask, I also read on Instagram that you are a brand consultant. I have to ask you, what made you decide to get into that field, and how can our listeners go about getting your advice if they have their own company?
Actually, I give that credit to my little cousin, Mike Heath. I brought my little cousin in the game with me. That's my only family member I kind of brought in the game with me when I got into the music business back in the days. He's actually the one who playing the piano in the summertime in the LBC video, acting like he's playing the piano. And he also did the skits on our first Dub Shack album, The Ghetto Clowns, with the skit Slap a Hole and all that. All them was his creation.
Classics.
That was featured on the first Dub Shack album. So, back then he was rapping, just him and his boy Quaz for the fun of it. Nothing really came about it seriously. He got up under the wing of a well-known record executive named Kevin Black. Kevin Black at the time was a top dog over at Interscope. Kevin Black is behind a lot of things that came out of Interscope, from Death Row, the Aftermath, to Eminem and 50, to some other type groups that came out of there as well that wasn't particularly hip-hop. My cousin got taken up under his wing, and my cousin ended up working marketing and promotions on several different records. Like I said, Eminem's album, and a few records that came out of Interscope. And from there, he just decided that he wanted to get off into marketing and promotion, period. So it started off with a partnership doing nightclubs, where it was promoting the nightclubs, throwing different events. We had a Greystone out here in LA, and a lot of popping clubs that was back here in LA. We was responsible for that. And from promoting clubs, it went from promoting clubs to being asked to promote products, and once the task was dawned upon us to promote products, and some of these projects went very well, we were introduced to, you know, some different campaigns. You know, the vitamin water campaign. We had an opportunity with that. You know, with the whole orchestrating the whole 50 Cent collaboration. We was did the pro. We got a chance to land a contract to do the whole promo campaign when Rockaware purchased Pro Kids. You know, we got those opportunities, but our big break came, and the main thing came was just from the throwback jerseys. I don't know if you remember the throwback jersey craze that was going on with everybody wearing the NBA throwback jerseys during the late 90s, 2000. Well, we was actually responsible for that. You know, me and my cousin, we actually, and the other partner, John, but actually have a letter, you know, that was written to the company, Fireworks, from David Stern, rest in peace, which was the commissioner of the NBA, that Fireworks was the only non-NBA owned company that made the NBA money during that lockout. If you notice, the same year that the throwback jersey craze came is the same year that the NBA also had a short season lockout. That was the year that the Spurs won, when they had the big strike going on. You know, so there was a big strike going on with the NBA, and they was losing a lot of revenues. So, you know, the whole purchase and the whole craze of everybody going crazy off the throwback jersey and us putting hip-hop artists, because that's what it started with, us putting hip-hop artists in those jerseys, you know, and making them a craze amongst the hip-hop crowd and amongst the music crowd, you know, because everybody was already adapting the California style with the white T-shirts and the big white T-shirts and the baggy jeans. You know, you had and the do-rag on the head. You had Jay-Z, who was popping at the time with the style. You know, you had the Brad. You know, you had Bow Wow, Crisscross. You know, you had a bunch of artists who had that sort of California swag of the all-white T-shirt, baggy T-shirt. And then, like I said, it went from that to putting the jersey on top of the white T-shirt. You know, that's how it started as a fashion statement, putting the jerseys over the white T-shirts and putting it on hip-hop artists in music videos. And it just took off. The idea wasn't for it to take off the way it did. It just took off and became a fad the way it did. And, you know, a lot of people learned that we were responsible for introducing that to the industry. So that just opened up a lot of doors for us to, you know, where people just wanted us to promote their products, come up with different campaign strategies to launch products. That led into us creating a Rolodex of all the billboard companies and all the magazines, you know, and all the different bus stop companies and, you know, any place you can, you know, advertise something at. So we eventually just slowly but surely got pushed over into the advertising side, you know, from this NBA thing that we did. We got pushed more into the advertising side. And naturally, that caused the progression into branding, you know, after helping create and solidify, you know, some big brands and work with some major companies and work with some major people like Shaquille O'Neal, Denzel Washington, Chris Brown, Faison Love, Miley Cyrus, Jack Black. You know, we worked on Nacho Libre movie. You know, we did all the marketing for that movie. We did all the marketing and promotion for Jet Li's The One, the movie he came out with, The One. You know, and like I said, from getting off into the marketing and promoting, it just led naturally into the whole branding aspect. You know, and to be honest with you, that branding thing started off within the cannabis industry. It didn't even start in the music industry. It started in the cannabis industry. The marketing and promotion was still strictly on the music business side and on the corporate side. And I seen an opportunity as the growth of the cannabis business became legal, I seen an opportunity to start branding and marketing cannabis products the same way that, you know, we had marketed other products such as vitamin water and different records and stuff like that, like Pro-Care shoes and Remy Martin, you know, and Hennessy, who was some of our other clients. You know, we've seen an opportunity to introduce that into the cannabis industry. But when I had the idea, California had not yet approved major advertisement for cannabis like they did earlier this year. So it was more so creating the idea of how do I do this without having the mainstream avenues. And therefore I got off into the branding, creating that buzz behind that brand, making that brand seem larger than life before it was, making it appear to be something that just got to be had, you know. And if you had it, you were part of the in crowd, you were part of the crew. If you was smoking on this, you know, me and my crew and my boys, Lil Draws and Bad Habit, we coined the phrase rapper weed. You know, we coined that phrase. And that's basically, you know, if you didn't have weed that Wiz Khalifa or Snoop Dogg or Be Real or one of the top rappers in the game hit the blunt and be like, ooh, what's this? Then you didn't have rapper weed. So we started off with that, pushing this terminology, rapper weed, and seeing how that picked up and whatnot. And from then on, we started getting calls from different companies asking us to help them do launches with their cannabis stores, asking us to help market their cannabis brands and launch their brands. So it was just a natural progression of being in the entertainment business. But the credit goes to my little cousin, Mike Heat, you know, his forming of Fireworks, the agency that even got me to start swaying that way.
And I have to ask you, how did you and Keith Clark, also known as Keith Klazark, get together? Like, how did you guys meet?
That Keith Clark go back to New Hope Baptist Church. Keith Clark is part of that. You know what I'm saying? Keith Clark, you know, is very instrumental in Warren G knowing how to produce beats. You know, we used to all go to Keith Clark house, Keith Clark apartment on 20th. You know, Keith Clark always been a musician. You know, we go back, but like I said, we go back to the church days. I've been knowing him since, you know, childhood. You know, that's like that's one of the early friends since I can remember having friends. You know.
And I have to I want to give him a quick shout out because he actually got me and you connected. He's a very great individual. So I want to give Keith Clark a shout out.
Oh yes.
And also, a few weeks back, I had the privilege of interviewing C-Night of the Dub Shack, and he mentioned the Dub Shack is putting together a new project. I have to ask you, what can we expect from the new Dub Shack project, and what is the estimated release date of that?
The album is called Parties and Hard Times. We haven't set a particular release date yet. You know, even though the project is basically done, it's in the mixing and mastering stage. You know, we're just trying to find the right time to actually drop it because it's a very powerful record. You know, as you know, we did one album on Def Jam. Our second album was released overseas only. We didn't even release a second album in the United States. Reality's got me tied up. Which you guys can find on eBay and online. You know, costs you about $35, but you can find it on there. So it's a rare find to find it. So for this third project, we decided to, you know, really go in on our creativity, but at the same time, we didn't want to fall into too much into what the new norm was. We wanted to stay in our own lane. So if you are a true Dub Shack fan, if you're a true lyricist fan of rapping hip hop, where, you know, we care about our bars and our lyrics as much as we care about the hook, as much as we care about the beats, you know, which made our era what's called the golden era of hip hop, because back then we cared about the beat, the lyrics, and the hook. It wasn't just about the beat, the hook, and the look. That's what it is nowadays. It's about a beat, a hook, and a look. You know, it's not about the wordplay. It's not about, you know, creating music from an actual creative, artistic standpoint. So we took it back to that essence. We didn't stray away from our, you know, our ghetto roots. You know, we have some, the reason we call it Parties and Hard Times, because yes, we are successful multi-platinum selling artists, and, you know, we do have a nice, you know, Hollywood lifestyle that has been provided for us for being in the music industry. But at the same time, our ear is to the streets. We on the blocks. We still in Long Beach. We still mess with some of the same homies. We still keep the same friends. We still the same guys when we first came in. So we still identify with some of the real life problems. And we don't fake like our whole life is peaches and cream. Life for anybody is about good times and bad times. And so we just putting in the format of how we live our life. Parties and hard times. It's the good party times to where we rocking shows, we on tour, you know, we doing interviews and the money is flowing. Then there's hard times to where, you know, we went through a dry spell to where the industry wasn't really checking for, you know, West Coast music, and, you know, you have this thing to where they consider, you know, artists our age, older, and whatnot, you know. So a lot of our money is made overseas and dealing outside of the country, you know, but we still have those hard times of life. We have the hard times of facing things like craziness in the world, weather craziness. We have coronavirus craziness. Everybody in life has hard times that they face. So we're not trying to put out a false image that life is just all good, peaches and cream, because we think that's where a lot of real people grow envious of artists, because it seems like artists is just trying to make it seem like my life is so much better than yours. You know, they even had lyrics of, I don't understand the language of people with short money. You know, it's as if the new craze is for artists to separate themselves from the regular man. You know, we don't want to be like you average motherfuckers. You know, we rich. We don't know what it's like to be like you. Like if they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth and they never been broke and they never had to struggle, they never had hard times, or they feel that because I've accomplished what I've accomplished, I'm better than you and I can't have no association with you because you're not doing as good as me. We decided we wanted to create a record that everybody could identify with. It's an inclusive record of everybody, you know, and it shows what real life is about. That life is about good times and bad times, you know, and it don't matter if we a multi-platinum selling rap group or you a 9-to-5 construction worker or a trash man. We all go through the same shit of having good days and bad days. So that's where the music is coming from, you know. It's something to make you feel good, party, turn up in the club, but at the same time, you're gonna think. It's gonna give you something to think about. It's gonna give you something to make you motivated to get up and do something with your life. It's gonna give you a different outlook on just how to view things from a more positive perspective and not so negative.
And I think I can speak on behalf of everyone listening here. I want to say that album actually sounds amazing, and I'm most definitely looking forward to that release of Party in Hard Times.
Well, I would be glad to send you over about 3 or 4 of the records that we have mixed, you know, because unlike the traditional way when we do drop, we're not gonna just drop singles. We're just gonna release the project, you know, and we're gonna put the project out there, you know, and we might end up shooting videos for every single song on the whole project, you know, because the project is just that significant. We worked on this. This is nothing that we just ran in the lab and created. We put our blood, sweat, and tears and heart into this to make sure we came across with some powerful music, you know. So again, we got some bangers that's for the radio, you know, that people can turn up to, party, shake your ass to, and all that. We got something for the homies to ride to. You know, that summertime, drop your top, hit the freeway, ride around. You know, and then we got something for those when you smoking a blunt and you deep in your thoughts, you know, and you feeling down on yourself, or you need some motivation, or you dealing with an issue or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? We got something to turn on that'll motivate you, give you that Tupac type feeling.
Sounds like some classic Dove Shack right there. Classic Dove Shack.
Yes, sir. You know, that's what we always been about, having our reality expressed through our music, but not in such a way to where we distance ourselves from what's the norm out there. You know, we don't want to seem like we came in on a silver spoon, riding in on a magic carpet. You know, we don't want to make it seem like, oh, well, we just so above and beyond everybody else. This is why, you know, we get to live the way we live, and this is why we like this. You know, it's not about us trying to make you feel bad for you being you, or trying to make ourselves seem better than anybody else. You know, like I said, which is most music seems to be about nowadays, of people trying to express that they better than you, or of somebody telling you that they're gonna take your bitch and fuck your bitch.
And I also have to ask you, what's next for you? Other than Party and Hard Times, what's next for Bo-Roc? Do you have any other shows, any solo projects, anything else you want to promote while we still have you on the show?
Well, yes, I have. You know, I'm gonna re-release a solo project that I had recorded back when that I never really put out there. It's called My Music, My Soul. You know, it's a complete R&B project. You know, something that I totally created from the heart, to give people an inside look at my, you know, music capabilities outside of hip-hop and outside of the Dove Shack. But right now, my focus is just on building what we have at the Dove Shack. You know, we have our Dove Shack Summer Sauce that we re-releasing this year. You know, if everything goes right, we can get past whatever we're going through in the world. But we launched it about a year or so ago, sold out instantly. You know, around the United States. Some bottles even made it outside the country. We got tagged for some places like New Zealand and Australia, you know, where people was cooking with our barbecue sauce. We have some other different summertime-based products that we're introducing, such as barbecue cooking utensils, barbecue grills. You know, we're coming with our own hot sauce, our own marinade sauce. We would like to think we was the motivation behind Warren G coming with his Sniffin' Grippings barbecue, you know, because that's along the lines we've been playing for a while as far as introducing our food product brand. But we just are launching a whole summertime type brand. We have everything from beach sandals to beach towels to umbrellas to suntan lotion that we're introducing as far as on our product line, as far as the Dove Shack brand.
And I did notice as well that you have scented candles available as well.
Yes, scented candles. You know, it's about to be a bunch of stuff. Think along the lines of the Dove Shack going, finding the Dove Shack product in Target in your home section. You know, we're trying to invade that space. You know, but again, more focused around the outdoor activities. You know. What you like to do in the summer, you know, picnic, barbecue, you like to go to the beach, you like to go swimming, you know, you like to play in the pool and things of that nature. So we're creating and introducing a product line based around that lifestyle. And simultaneously, we're also working on a script for, and stay on the lookout, we're working with you know, a couple of heavyweights. I don't want to drop their name, you know, but they were involved with a couple of hip-hop classic movies in the hood and introducing some big stars like Chris Tucker and whatnot to the world. You know, we working with them cats to create the Summertime in the LBC movie. You know, that's going to be coming soon. You know, we have that along with our video vlog show that we're about to launch called Real Spit Radio.
Hey, it sounds like you guys are busy. Most definitely is 2020's year for the Dove Shack.
Yes, and you know, as usual, we had our Summertime in the LBC Festival every year out here in Long Beach at the Queen Mary. Over 30,000 people in attendance. This will be our 4th year. Well, we probably won't end up having it this year because of what's going on, but this would have been our 4th year. Our first year, we did great. We brought back the whole Wu-Tang Clan and had them perform on stage all together. It had been at least 8 years since that had happened. We even had Old Dirty Bastard Son. We had the whole Bone Thugs Harmony. We had the whole G Unit. Our first year, along with some other classic hip-hop groups. Second year, we had everybody from old school acts like Lisa and Colt Jam, to Slick Rick and Dana Dane, all the way to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. We had that along on the stage, sharing the stage with Game. They shared the stage with Snoop Dogg, OT Genesis, RJ, Mr. LA, YG. We've had last year we had Blueface. Again, we had the Game, Snoop Dogg. It's been real big. Like I said, over 30,000 attendance, and it's been growing every year. The summertime in the LBC Festival. So we have that. We're probably going to try to introduce another type of beach party type thing. MTV Beach Party or MTV TRL when they was on the beach. We're going to try to introduce that type of summertime concert series as well. So we're pretty busy, keeping the branding alive. Also I'm in the politics as well now. Out here I'm involved heavily in the cannabis industry and cannabis laws and regulations out here in California and in the city of Los Angeles. I work with City Hall. I work with DCR. I also work with the California Minority Alliance, for equity rights within the cannabis and hemp industry, making sure that, people of less fortunate backgrounds, people of color, people that come from low-income neighborhoods have an equal opportunity to get off into the cannabis business and prosper like some of these other people are doing now that it's legal. That and, my typical motivational speaking and life coaching. I do that on the side as well from time to time.
So it sounds like never a dull day for Bo-Roc, I'll tell you that one.
Nah, never that. Except when I can get some time in on the PS4 and turn on that 2K20, and whoop some ass on 2K20.
Hey, that's what's up, man. You can't go wrong with NBA 2K.
No, can't go wrong with that, but that's about it. My time is divided between that, the PlayStation and my kids,
So this is the time in the interview, Bo-Roc, that I give a chance for the individual that comes on the show, just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, and also your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you if they're not already doing so.
Okay, well, first of all, make sure y'all spell my name right, B-O-R-O-C. If y'all Google me, I just found out something myself. If you want to get a history on my music, if you go on something like Google Play Music and you just put in Bo-Roc, you'll get a whole playlist of all the features I've done with different artists. Like I said, I've worked with everybody from RBL Posse to Tupac to the Dog Pound, Snoop Dogg, Warren G, E40. You think of it. International. I have records from Japan all the way to Australia. I have records with artists in the Netherlands and France. I've been featured on a bunch of records. So, if you want to get familiar with me and my music, you can do that as well. Google me on YouTube, Rock House Music, ROCHOUSEMUZIC on the YouTube. Or you can just put in Bo-Roc or Dub Shack. I got 3 or 4 YouTube pages that have come up with all the different videos and stuff I have out. As far as direct contact for any business, because I also still do hooks, just so y'all know out there, I like working with independent artists, up-and-coming artists. So even though I do work with multi-platinum artists, just finished doing some work with Robin Thicke and his crew and whatnot, I still do a lot of work with independent artists. Again, I keep myself humble and level like that. So don't feel that I'm unapproachable. Business is business, though. I don't do work for free, but I am reasonable for the everyday working man's budget, if that's what it calls for. I know how to make the distinction on those who have a record deal and who can afford to pay my industry price versus those who are up-and-coming artists and trying to get on and don't have a large budget to work with, but I feel I like their talent, I like their music or the record that they're doing, and I just want to help out, So I'm approachable on that. You can get at me on Instagram at BOROC.DoveShack, Bo-Roc.DoveShack on Instagram, Bo-Roc.LBC on Snapchat. Don't really do that too much. Or you can just email me directly at BOROC.LBC@gmail.com. That's BOROC.LBC@gmail.com. I conduct all my music business through there. But if you also want to inquire about some branding or some marketing and promotion, or even want to inquire about some license-to-license cannabis business, if you're out here in the United States or in California, I only deal with license-to-license work right now. You can also reach me through that email. But again, right now that we on lockdown and things are going crazy, I'm just in music create mode right now. I've been writing songs, sitting in the house writing songs, going into the studio. The studio is a safe place. It ain't nothing ever in there but 2 or 3 people at a time. The engineer, myself, probably producer, or the artist I'm working with. So I'm doing a lot of music work right now. So now that everything else is on hold, if you do want a hook or a feature, now is the time to get it. Again, you got my email. You can get at me that way. Get at me on Instagram, DM me. I do work through PayPal and Cashapp. For those artists overseas, you can email me the beat, and send in a down payment. I go into my studio, I record the music, send it back to you. Once you send me my rest of my payment, I'll send you a version. I'll send you a copy of MP3 of whatever I did. Once you send me the rest of the balance of the payment, and then I send you all the files, the whole session, the whole Pro Tools session to you, so you can have it for yourself. And most times I send it with my vocals mixed already, because I like to have myself or my own personal engineer have me sounding a certain way, so I always make sure I sound my best. So that is also a luxury that they get of getting the email back with my vocals already mixed on there. So it's easy transaction. You don't even have to leave your house. I do work with anybody from around the world. Email is a beautiful thing, and Pro Tools is an even more beautiful thing. So that's what I'm on right now while we're stuck. We basically, in California, it's looking like we're going to be stuck in this sort of lockdown type quarantine till they're talking April 19th, and maybe even May 31st.
Holy crap!
So the only thing, it's bad out here. They just implemented last night out here in LA 12 o'clock safe shelter thing, which is basically a 12 o'clock curfew, 12 midnight curfew. For everybody to be indoors. They don't want really nobody on the streets. They're trying to get a hold on this virus, before it really gets out of hand. So again, right now, it's all focused on music. I can't really do no other business right now except music business. And I only really feel safe going into the studio anyway, and I really don't want to be in the studio with no bunch of people anyway. So for all you, again, artists who are not located in Los Angeles, even if you are in LA, if you want to get in the studio or get a feature, we can work, get you a couple of dollars together, get you a Cashapp or a PayPal and holler at your boy, and we can work. But after this is all over, we can get back to the real business of the marketing and the branding. If anybody's interested in that, We will be relaunching the Dove Shack Music, Dove Shack Music LLC.com. I believe it is. No, it's just DoveShackMusic.com. But we're going to be relaunching that. We're getting that website built up to be an online store. You know, right now it was just something where you can just go, you know, learn about the Dove Shack, listen to some of our music, watch our videos and whatnot. But we're actually upgrading the whole thing to where it's more interactive. We're able to go live more on there, so you'll be able to tune in on our .com to watch us live backstage or on stage. You know, we're going to be having live smoke sessions where we get to smoke with our fans around the world or chop it up with our fans around the world. But the main thing, we're going to have a store on there, a large shopping store, to not only purchase some of our, you know, music that wasn't accessible to everybody. Our first album, along with a bunch of our new music. You know, you're actually going to find our new album on our .com first before you find it any place else. Before we release it to iTunes or any place else, we're going to be launching it on our .com simultaneously. When we launch our .com, we're going to be launching the album. You know, so it's going to be sort of like cross promotion, because regardless, I can't just stop promoting and marketing. It's just in my DNA. So, you know, we're going to launch the .com and the album at the same time and use both of them to help catapult each other. But you will be able to find all our products, everything from our Dove Shack Frisbees, like I said, all the way to our beach umbrellas. You'll be able to get it on there, even our own custom suntan lotion and barbecue sauce. You'll be able to get all these products on our .com. And it's all quality products. Our barbecue sauce, you can go look at the reviews even now on Instagram on the Dove Shack Summer Sauce. You know, John Sally, former NBA player, ESPN Man Cave host, he gave a shout out. He's loving it. You know, artists like Sugar Free, Snoop Dogg, Daz. You know, you can get reviews from a bunch of artists and celebrities who got blessed with a bottle, as well as just some regular customers to tell you how exquisitely and exceptionally good our barbecue sauce is. So, and our products are high quality products. You know, they're not just typical cheap products. We care about our fans as much as we care about our brand. So we want to make sure they have quality stuff, quality materials, you know, but at reasonable bargain prices.
And I gotta say, with that summer sauce, there's one thing that I love in the summertime the most is barbecues. So once the summer hits, I'm gonna be sliding up over to the website and getting myself some of that summer sauce, because Dove Shack, you damn right, man, I need some of that.
Yeah, that's, you know, shout out to my Chef Matt. You know what I'm saying? That's my chef there. You know, who helped create the barbecue sauce with me. Me and him worked on that together. You know, and shout out to his grandma, you know, who provided the base, you know, idea for our barbecue sauce. You know, but trust me, it's once you have a taste, you know, you'll never want any other barbecue sauce except that one. So, you know, and it will be coming out in different versions this time. It will be regular version, THC medicated version, and a CBD version.
No, that sounds delicious. I'm going to tell you that for a fact. That sounds delicious. I got to say, Bo-Roc, thank you so much for coming up on the show. I've been a huge fan of your work for a very long time, so just being able to chop it up with you for about an hour, man, was an absolute honor and most definitely a pleasure. Thank you so much again for coming up on the show.
Yes. And if anybody, again, if you have any family members that are out here in California, LA, or you have any family members that are anywhere in the vicinity of what's going on, the Dove Shack, you know, prayers and thoughts are with you. We wish everybody to be safe out there. wish everybody happy and good times, and treat it like it's the summer. Every day. That's what our main thing. Every day should be like summer. Summer has always been the happiest time of most any person's life. And if you live every day like it's summer, then you live in a very happy life, a very happy, peaceful life. Don't let the bad things get you down. Don't pay attention to the drama, and please don't feed into the bullshit.
That's true. That's some really great advice. Thank you so much, Bo-Roc. Honestly, like I said, it was an absolute honor, and you stay safe during this Corona crap as well, man. Really stay safe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out again to my boy Keith Clark. That's my bro right there for connecting us. If y'all, I'm telling y'all too, if y'all want some bangers, check out my boy Keith Clark. You would be surprised on how many hit records. He's a humble dude.
12-time platinum artist. 12-time platinum. He produced some
he's very humble. Listen, he's produced on more hit records than a lot of your top producers that's out today. If he was one of those types that's just looking for the limelight, or wanted to be part of that, he can easily do it because he's been responsible for a bunch of hit records, but he's a humble dude and he lives a humble life, and conducts himself in a humble manner. So he's a good spirited dude. But he got them bangers, he got them hits for you, and he's a good music mentor for those up and coming producers or people who want to learn about the business. We chop it up often about music business, which is something I want to stress also before I go. For any artists, getting into or have aspirations to get into this industry, make sure you always remember this is the music business. In other words, you have no business doing music if you're not going to include business within your music. Bottom line. A lot of these artists who cry and whine about their situations, about their status with these labels, it's a lot of times because of lack of knowledge. It's not because somebody's always out to get you. Good business, you learn this in any business, good business is always doing business in the best interest of your business. So when the record label is doing business with you, they're always going to do record business in the interests of the record label, not in the interest of the artist. That is your job to do the business in the best interest of yourself. That is not your label's job. That is you and your team's job. So make sure that you learn about this business, learn about points, learn about monetization, learn how you can, consolidate your catalog, learn about different ways you can put your music out there without having to wait on a record label or having to wait on anybody. You can use things like TuneCore and things of that nature and start generating your buzz. Also, make sure you do your paperwork. A lot of artists get at me and they want to feature on songs. They want to do songs and we do work, and you guys forget about let's do the paperwork. That is very important because only with that paperwork will you continue to get paid. Only with that paperwork will you collect a royalty check. Only off that paperwork will you be able to take what you've done and go get a check for it, for something like sell it to a soundtrack or to a TV show or for a theme of some product. You have to do your paperwork to have that type of lifestyle that you see a lot of these other rappers live. So make sure you guys know that. And if you need, I do advice and coaching. There is a small fee to my A&R and my consulting fees, but again, email me, BOROC.LBC@gmail.com.
And that's some amazing advice, you know what I mean? A lot of these young talent, they don't really know that. So the fact that, and a big individual like yourself has been around the music industry for a very long time is willing to offer that advice. That's actually a really good thing.
Yeah, because it's a lot of people view becoming an artist on my level as hopeless. because they're not in California, they're not in Hollywood, or because they don't feel they have a connection, or they don't have homeboys like Snoop Dogg and Warren G that helped them out. And that's not what it takes. It takes knowledge. It takes knowing what to do. You know, you can actually record an album right at your house, mix, master that album, shoot your videos right off your phone, do a photo shoot with the quality of the phones that's coming out, such as the iPhone, the new Samsung. You can shoot your video and your photo shoot for your album right on your phone. You know, you can do all that right from your home. But you got to also make sure you do your paperwork and know your business, and you read. You know, you read some of the material that's out there to help you learn, like Cashapp's book, The Industry Bible, you know, things of that nature. So you just learn about your points and percentages. And if you ever need advice or help with that, never be afraid to ask somebody. But please, again, don't go through being discouraged, and don't do the main thing where a lot of artists mess up at. Don't think you can get this done for free. It takes money to make money. You know, producers work better, and they give you better beats when you pay them for their beats. You know, getting a beat free off the internet is cool, but you're not getting the best, and you're probably getting a beat that 80 other artists is rapped on as well. You pay a producer, you're going to get the best out of that producer. You pay your engineer, you're going to get the best out of that engineer. You pay for your studio time, you're going to be able to go in there and get quality work. You pay for a hook or a feature or a singer to be on your record, then you're going to get the best out of that singer or that rapper, you know, or that instrument player that you might be utilizing. But the biggest mistake a lot of artists is thinking nowadays, because it's so easy to do it from home, that I can do everything for free. Where if you do everything for free, trust me, the only thing you're going to do is have a free career. A career that's free of fans, and a career that's free of having real money.
And that's true. That is some really great advice for these individuals. I agree with all of that. Knowledge is key.
Knowledge is key.
I have to say, Bo-Roc, again, like I want to say thank you so much for the years of amazing music, and I do want to say that from not from a DJ doing an interview, but from a fan to the artist, man. Thank you so much. You really defined my younger years with your music, man. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it. You know, I'm glad I can be of service. You know, that's what makes me. That's the highlight, I think, of my whole career. And really like the highlight of my life, the way that I'm able to learn how my music and my art affects people in a positive way. You know, when I hear the feedback, or I see the DM, or get the messages or the emails, or I get the request to do work, or I just have a person ask me for an autograph or whatnot, you know, or just to hear a person singing my song or tagging me. I get tagged a lot. Every time Summertime in the LBC comes on the radio somewhere around the world, somebody tags me in it, you know, as they're listening to it. And that's really like a highlight, that I'm able to bring that type of joyous feeling into people's lives. And it's something that's long-standing and that'll be here forever. You know, I'll be able to bring a good feeling to the hearts of people that can hear, you know, for years to come, long after I'm gone.
And that's the wonderful, wonderful thing about music, you know. It lasts for many, many years, and once it's made and sent out to the world, you know, it can be heard even after all of us are passed away.
Indeed.
I do want to say, Bo-Roc, thank you again so much, man. I hope down the road we can do this again.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll reach out to you the minute we got something new coming, after we get this summertime. And once we get the .com ready to launch, and we get ready to launch the barbecue sauce and launch the products, and I will definitely be in contact with you to let you know, so you can let the listeners know. Also, once this script is completed, you know, we'll keep you updated as the progress goes along on that, as far as the Summertime in the LBC movie. But you guys be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a cult classic. It's going to be something that's going to make you laugh. It's going to be something that's going to keep you on the edge of your seats. It's going to be something that make you feel some emotions, but it's going to be a, real life insight on what it was like for all of us. Snoop Dogg, Warren G, all your favorite rappers and athletes. Long Beach Poly produced more professional athletes than any other high school in the whole nation. We've had more professional football players, baseball players, and basketball players than any other high school. Everybody come through Long Beach. Steven Spielberg went to film school at Cal State Long Beach, Cameron Diaz, Billie Jean King. We have a rich history in Long Beach of not only music, of making hit stars from back in the disco days with Thelma Houston, or the old school days with War, but all the way down to Snoop Dogg, the Dove Shack, and now OT Genesis. It just keeps coming. And shout out to Juju too, Juju Smith, Pittsburgh Steelers, another Long Beach boy. So summertime in the LBC is going to be a very insightful, but yet, movie that had you grabbing inside of your ribs, because it's going to be hilarious.
And I'm looking forward to it. I really do. Again, Bo-Roc, thank you so much, and most definitely keep me informed. And whenever you let me know, I'll make sure I let our listeners know.
Yes, and thank you guys for being interested and tuning in and supporting the Dove Shack all these years.
Hey man, you are most certainly welcome. You keep making them, I'll keep spinning them.
That's what's up. All right now.
Have yourself a wonderful night.
You too.